Let me tell you about this guy.
I'll tell you about this fucker right here.
Yeah.
Well, you ruined my segue.
Oh, okay. Let's come up with another segue. So, I don't know. My dad is very much a conspiracy theorist.
Is he?
He is.
Okay, so like conspiracy theorists as like tinfoil hat kind of conspiracy theorists, or like just I could see that being true kind of conspiracy theorist.
No, and my dad, he believes in things like, oh yeah, we knew all along the hazards of Agent Orange and napalm, and we used it anyway. And then the VA denied any side effects of it for 50 freaking years. And then they're finally getting around saying, upon further research, we have discovered.
Right.
So he's like, they knew way before. UFOs, yeah, Area 51, that's a thing.
Gotcha. But so this is completely off topic from conspiracy theory. Now that you've made that segue, I'm going to pull it back.
Okay.
Completely off topic.
Like by how weird my dad is?
No, your dad's not weird. I mean, I don't know. I've never met your dad. Yeah, I don't know. I've never met him, so I couldn't tell you.
Look, he's weird.
Okay.
Everybody who knows him will tell you that.
Gotcha. I'll take your word for it.
All right.
They probably think I'm weird since you told them all those stories about me door dashing stuff to my house from just like 2 blocks away.
No, you told everybody. So
I was seeing. I don't know what you're talking about. Only 10 people saw that video. So I saw it was like a TikTok of like an old ad for piping, like water piping and things like that, made out of asbestos. And it was just very interesting because I was watching it and it was like what they like lined it with was like asbestos or something like that. I think it was asbestos.
it is.
Yeah. And it was just very interesting because they were talking about, asbestos gives it like all of these like great qualities and like all that stuff. Like this is the secret. And that's the napalm thing like made me think of that. And it's like, and so they quickly realized like it was just funny how like people made strides with like this material or whatever. And then like turns out it kills you.
Yeah. And I think some of it, they just don't know until they know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these other things are like, yeah, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that was genuinely a situation where, like, they just didn't know until they knew. But I just think it is funny that, like, you have this whole ad, right? This whole, like, an entire engineer's job was, like, this product.
Right.
And now it would be like, yeah, I'm sorry, we can't accept your application.
We didn't drop the bomb on Japan and then suddenly surprised about cancer. Right?
Yeah.
If we knew, we were going to fess up to it. I mean, nobody's going to say, we're going to drop this bomb and create cancer on these people. Like, we're going to end the war. That's how you have to sell it, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to buy
Nobody was surprised that anime came out of that.
Nobody's going to buy the Pinto if you tell them that, you get rear-ended, your car's going to explode.
Right. Exactly. So
what?
We gave each other the task of doing some research on
Conspiracy
theories. Mike had the task of doing conspiracy theories from his time, the Civil War era.
Back in the day.
And the fun part about his is some of them we actually get to find out is, were they true or were they not?
Well, yes and no.
No, we don't get to find out.
So I chose some, but I chose to go with the ones we still don't know about.
Okay.
But we can do the other ones on a future episode.
Yeah, our podcast producing and planning team didn't inform me about the change in direction. So
Fuckers.
That's fine. So we can do this how we done this in the past. So give me your first one. What's your first conspiracy theory that you would like to talk about today? Something.
So I thought about
your time.
My time and conspiracy theories and being in the military. And I can't think of my time in the military without thinking of Clintons. All right.
Okay.
And I don't know how someone can be so misfortunate to have 57 friends and associates commit suicide. Just there had.
I'm assuming you're talking about Hillary at this point.
Hillary, Bill, the Clinton family network.
Uh-huh.
All right. Steve is out there, has some information that the Clintons don't want to get out there, enjoying his pizza, goes outside to smoke a cigarette because he's not allowed to have it in the house. And right then he decides he's going to hang himself on the back porch. He has to get on 2 bar stools, get this rope that wasn't at the house anytime before that.
Right.
Hang himself and then have the bar stool set back down on the ground. Was normal. Oh yeah, suicide. So yeah, my conspiracy theory is there is the Clinton crime family.
And why were these people committing suicide?
Because they had dirt on the Clintons.
Oh, okay.
All right. It's kind of like the modern day Epsteins, which, interestingly enough, is tied to the Clintons.
Right. So the idea goes that they committed suicide. The conspiracy theory is that
they were bumped off.
They were bumped off because they had dirt on the Clintons.
Correct.
Right. Including Epstein.
Yeah. Who, committed suicide in prison.
Yeah. Had dirt on quite a few.
Particularly Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Okay. So
I led with that one. I know we don't get into politics, but I think
we've never done that on
that transcends politics really in my world. And I can't think of.
Yeah. Because that specific conspiracy theory, especially when you start getting into Epstein and things like that, isn't just politics. There are celebrities involved, the super rich involved, famous scientists apparently, whom I hear like watching midgets do math. That's the one going around.
That's
right
just
now.
Weird. Midgets doing math. Who authorized that?
So, yeah, I think that transcends politics. So I guess my question for you is kind of what, we're going to go through each of these and maybe we can both give our perspective on it. But that conspiracy theory, for yourself, in your opinion, do you feel like that's true?
Oh, yeah, they're killing people.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
I think I can get on board with that. In one way or the other, somebody is taking out somebody because they've got things on them that they don't want them to know about.
Yeah.
Whether it's Clinton led or, whatever, right? I feel like that's probably the case. I'm in that boat of Epstein didn't kill himself.
Right. Well, I don't think necessarily they're so bold as to say, John, I need you to go and murder this guy.
Well, yeah, of course.
Right. I can see maybe they're going, this guy is being a real thorn in my side.
Right.
And I just wish he wasn't.
Right.
And then suddenly he's not.
Yeah, and suddenly he's not. Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely with you there. I don't know how much a paid assassin is, but I feel like with the tech that we have these days, it's probably not too hard to actually get one and wire them some obscure amount of money to do something. And,
especially when you're a politician from Arkansas, you meet a variety of people who are willing to do nefarious deeds for a lot less than what the Clintons can offer.
Right.
So if you could get it, it's like I see them doing one for free just to get in the network. You know?
Yeah.
It's like that construction company's like, okay, we're just going to bid this thing. We're going to break even on it. But we're going to get our foot in the door with this giant company so we can do the next 10.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We'll give you a special. It's a one deal, if you will.
Exactly.
If you like our, how we handled this one.
If you like how we took care of Jeff, we'll take care of Nancy for this amount.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we'll give you a digital coupon. Yeah, we have an app. Yeah, I'm with you on that. As and we talked about this a little bit before, as like people that have known people or have been close to people that go through suicide.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are cases where people do take this lightly, but suicide typically is not a light thing for the person committing suicide. It's not just one day I wake up and like, I'm going to kill myself. It's very rarely like that, right? They go through a lot of other pain and struggles and all these things that lead up to that point.
Mm-hmm. There's some that are surprised to people around them, but then after it happens and then they go back and start looking at it, then they start to see.
There's a trail, right? It's like, oh, that person always acted
that's
this
why
way.
that person gave me this stuffed animal that they've loved all their life since childhood.
Yeah, there's some sort of, or there's like, oh, like that's why he would always or she would always do this at this time, even though they said they were fine, or like they're one of the happiest people I know, or whatever.
Right.
Like you can see it in the background, and yeah, people just kind of up and doing it just because it.
And then the other thing, suicide sucks for survivors.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I don't know what it does for the victims. That's for God to figure out.
Yeah,
but for the
we haven't
survivors,
figured that one out yet.
for the survivors, it sucks. And in different communities, like military veterans, there's a high suicide rate in that community. But even then, in that community, you don't know 57 people that committed suicide being that one individual.
Right.
That's just a ridiculous number.
Yeah. Personally knowing that many people.
Yeah.
You have to have an extremely large network of people. And even then, you may not, like, on a very personal level, know them. It's just, I heard through the grapevine that this person that I saw in high school once. Like,
right. This is people that they've worked with or with friends with.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry.
Yep. I'm with you on that one.
How about you?
All right. So my first one is a very well-known conspiracy theory.
Epstein?
No, it's not. It's not Epstein, or Epstein, or however we call it. No, 9/11.
9/11.
9/11 is a huge conspiracy theory.
Inside job.
Yeah, there are all types of things, right? Inside job just with like the terrorists that were part of it, or inside job with like our government.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things, right? I don't think I need to go in a lot of detail because it's basically like a nest of conspiracy theories. There's so many different ones for that one specific incident, right?
There's George Bush did it so he could invade Iran and get revenge for the assassination attempt on his father.
Right, exactly. You got the famous quote that came from it that went all around the internet for a long time: jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Right.
All of that was going around. Lots of documentaries trying to debunk that. Lots of documentaries that tried to prove other conspiracy theories or prove that, or whatever, right? So that's a really famous one. I don't know where I sit with that one because there's so many versions of the same like conspiracy theory on the whole 9/11 thing. All I know is that I hate that I can't bring toothpaste through airports because of it.
Yeah. The terrorists won.
I feel like, personally, in a way, the way that we as a country handle checking before people go into the airports, it feels like the terrorist won in that regard. Like, we basically induced mass panic, and now like the toothpaste is the cause of
more than 2 ounces of liquid is banned on carry-on.
Yeah. And so, but anyways, so I just wanted to bring that up. That one's a pretty influential one of my time, obviously. I mean, I was 3 when it happened. Right. But for everybody else, and for myself, and anybody who was flying before 9/11 to after 9/11, I mean, that's drastically changed the entire flying routine, period.
Oh yeah.
It's really interesting to watch old shows and like see things like people waiting for people at the gate and like stuff like that, right? Like things you're never allowed to do now.
I've thought about the conspiracy theories of it, the revenge aspect accusation of it and different things. And I haven't yet found something believable enough in such that there wasn't a better way of accomplishing the same goal, right? So like if we wanted to invade Iraq, we didn't have to knock down those buildings to get a reason to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And in the end, we didn't even use 9/11. We used weapons of mass destruction, chemical weapons, as the reason to go in there. And we just used 9/11 as a reason to eyeball it, to come up with this thing. And you just didn't need to.
Yeah. I saw a post that somebody made, and it was basically like, you know, a sarcastic post of like, yeah, because, you know, these conspiracies for 9/11 come up because, you know, nobody could believe with our government being so efficient and so on top of the ball with all the things that it does that they just missed this one. And it made me laugh, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, all right. I feel you there. I don't know where I stand on like the conspiracy. I don't actually think about that one that much.
Mm-hmm.
I just think of it as like, man, it sucks. I got to do all these things now.
Yep.
And like, it's sad and all that stuff, but I don't really think about the conspiracy aspect.
I don't think it was an inside job. I think if there's a conspiracy in the 9/11 thing, it's our response and protecting Saudi Arabia and their involvement in it for oil.
Right.
All right. So that's the gist. I don't think we knocked out our own buildings.
Yeah. I think you're right about what you said. I think that there's other ways that we could have achieved the same goal without that part. So that's mine.
Is it yours?
What else you got?
Well, I got something that happened a long time ago that became a conspiracy theory much later.
Okay.
The moon landing.
That was my next one.
That was your next one?
Yeah.
The moon landing.
The moon landing.
So it was like this.
All a hoax, so they say. The moon landing, it was real. The government would never lie to us, I don't think.
Not about anything of that magnitude, ever.
Yeah.
I have complete and full faith in the honesty of the U.S. government.
Yep. We have complete and full trust in the honesty of the U.S. government. For legal purposes, this isn't a joke.
Not at all.
All right.
For legal purposes.
So we've got some conspiracy theories that kind of transcend generations, right?
Yeah.
We got some things that, you know, when you were a kid, when I was a kid, when my kids are kids, it feels like they're going to continue. So the earth being flat.
Flat earthers.
Yeah, flat earthers.
I remember flat earth being debunked a long, like when I was just learning to speak English, I learned that the earth was indeed round.
Right. That was the first thing you learned.
But suddenly we have to go back to the whole freaking Francisco Pizarro days, you know?
Yeah.
Of, it's not flat. Columbus is sailing over and his crew is afraid they're going to fall off the edge of the earth if they keep going any further.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not with it, right? I'm not with the earth is flat. Like, we've never been to space. Just, you know, have a hard time with those ones.
Yeah, I mean,
satellites.
Because you would actually have to disbelieve in all of those things and more.
Yeah.
To be able to justify the flat earth concept.
Yeah. It's the way airline travel works.
I know.
Right? And how you get from point A to point B, why you take the route that you do. Every single graphic now that's on an airline, you know, you're on the back seat, you could see, like, follow the path of the plane. Yeah. They all staged and fake to, like, make the earth look round and all that stuff. There's just a lot to it that you have to have evidence for against.
I know, especially like you can cruise around the world. Mm-hmm. You know, you start out in Singapore and you head one direction until you end up in Singapore again.
Yeah.
How can you do that if it's flat?
Right. Then the other part too is like the whole thing, like with the whole Columbus thing, right? And all of that, or like all of that travel is like, oh, I'm going to find a quicker way to India. I'm going to find a quicker way to get these spices. And where he ended up was not the US, but like Cuba area, right? Because of the trajectory and just coming straight. It just doesn't quite work that way if it's flat.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I don't get the flat. I mean, why is that like becoming this fad like thing right now?
I don't know. I hear about it more now than I did when I was a kid. And people talked about it as a joke. Like, I hear about it more now as like people legitimately believing and having a lot of passion about the earth being flat. It's very interesting.
It's like there's a generation of people that just has to get rid of all the rules. not acknowledge rules like we did and just break them. Right? No, there's just no rules. So all rules are a human construct. So they're not real. And so nothing that we are ever taught is real because it came from humans or something.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm like the whole point of science and like mathematics and things like that, when you ask like, what's the difference between science and like just believing in something, right? Or a religion or whatever. And the whole point is the idea is that if you were to take a complete knowledge reset, where the earth went into World War III, everything was nuked, right? There was only a couple people left, blah, blah, blah. They got to rebuild the population, lost all knowledge, right? Complete reset. Is that you would reach the same conclusions at some point.
Right.
Through the scientific method, through mathematics, things like that. You would get to the same place, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. So, you see these videos online of like the flat earthers that are like the real passionate ones that go to like do these experiments, and then they're really sad because they debunk themselves. And like, it's a whole like, at least the good ones, they have that like shock value in them, and like the people that are actually trying to, discover that the earth is flat and whatever. And people go to great lengths of building their own rockets and stuff and continue debunking themselves. And, so I'm with them testing the waters. The fad is weird. It's a strange baseline to start out with of like,
but it's just baselines, foundations. They're designed to be built upon. Like, right. So we know this is true, so we can focus our energy on this. All these people are still focused on their energy, so they're never going to get to here.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Going backwards.
Yep. So what else you got? What's your next one?
Have you heard of the concept that the U.S. government like to screw with its people?
Well, yeah, I've heard of that one. Yeah. So I don't know if that's a conspiracy.
So there's conspiracies like MK Ultra, where they use drugs and hallucinogens to get into people's mind and try to do mind control and hypnotism and that kind of stuff. The Montauk Project is one of them, trying to learn about mind control and time travel and that kind of crap. And then the Philadelphia experiment, where they attempted to make a U.S. naval warship invisible.
Interesting.
All right. And there's like one theory where they sent a warship back in time and, so suddenly you're in freaking World War II with an aircraft carrier and fighter jets.
Yep. Well, I didn't read about that one on the news at any point. I definitely believe that the government spent the money on researching those things.
So yeah, me too. Me too. And the government is not foreign to using drugs on people and experimenting with drugs and hallucinogens and cocaine and crack from Colombia.
Yeah, somebody had to find out they were bad
in Nicaragua. So I can see that, and I think because the government's willing to do these shady ass things, it leads to these conspiracy theories. No, we didn't turn a warship invisible.
Right.
No, we did not send it back in time. No, we haven't discovered the means of time travel yet.
Well, people take these papers on like legitimate research because that ultimately we get some of the tech and the things we get from government research and things like that. Scientists in general don't get paid very much. And there's a lot of funding that comes from like government funded projects and things like that. And I think people take these papers or projects and they're like, yeah, we must have it because the result said that we don't, but they must be lying now. And we must have one of those things floating around here somewhere. And yeah, I think that's where, that conspiracy theory starts. It's like, oh, they did a paper on it. So like, it must be a thing they have.
And then like earthquakes are tsunami bombs, experimental tsunami bombs. So that we can control a tsunami. So if we need to flood out our enemy, we can just like launch a tsunami bomb and create a tsunami. That's out there.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting because we work with Japan quite well, and they're a military asset for us, so we keep flooding them a lot. We actually did it quite recently.
Yeah, caused that whole nuclear problem.
Yeah. All right, so I got one that's definitely of my time. It's pretty popular. COVID. The Wuhan virus.
The Wuhan virus.
The virus.
China virus.
The virus of your people.
But China.
But China. So I got one that's not as far, or it's far-fetched. It's not as common as some people might think. So obviously there's the whole back and forth of COVID real, COVID not. This one has nothing to do with that. This conspiracy theory is all about COVID being real and 5G. So the conspiracy is that 5G that started really becoming more popular around the pandemic timeframe is what was used to transmit the COVID virus to everybody. Oh. That's how it traveled so fast.
Oh, okay. So now we made a virus that is digital that can become viral.
Yep. Literally viral.
Literally viral, not digitally viral.
Right. And that's how it was transmitted.
So we invented the air transmittable humano-digital virus.
Yes. Yeah. The digital anthrax, if you will, of the world. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We're pretty good. We're inventing time-traveling aircraft carriers and digital viruses that can transmit to people. So what do you think? Real?
Yeah, no.
No, you're not on board with that one.
I'm not on board with that one at all. With 5G, if there's going to be a conspiracy theory about 5G that I could give a nod of thought to, it would be 5G causes cancer, right? Because power lines causes cancer if you live underneath them or too close to them. We didn't know that in the beginning until, we built all these power lines through residential neighborhoods and people started getting cancer. Now we have laws and rules about how far houses have to be from power lines. So we're also a society that tends to discover the bad stuff later.
Yeah.
So I can see where that might be possible, but not COVID.
Yeah. I'm not on board with the COVID thing. I can see the logic behind some of the other stuff. I don't see it with COVID.
So I have a conspiracy theory on COVID.
Okay.
If you want to hear it.
I do.
All right. So I believe that COVID is
Actually, you know what? I'm good. No, go ahead.
I believe the COVID virus, as we know it, was augmented by man. And it was being engineered to be able to kill off the elderly, but not kill off the younger, healthier people.
Okay.
All right. So it was going to be a form of not just population control, but more of a financial, let's not have these people living too long because we don't have the funds to keep them alive.
Okay.
All right. And so we release this thing out there, they die off, and suddenly we don't have to spend this $8 trillion on the elderly because they just don't exist anymore.
Interesting. Well, from my perspective, they did a terrible job. There's still way too many old people. And some of them, or all of them are politicians. So they didn't do a very good job.
Well, I think it got out too early.
It wasn't ready yet.
It wasn't ready yet. And somewhere along the lines, the boomers are like, wait a minute, this is targeting us.
Stay inside, right?
No, don't, no. You gotta wait a little bit. Get the millennials with this shit.
Yeah, we're not ready yet. They just went back inside. Yeah. So this is your conspiracy.
That's my conspiracy theory. I think it's
They were
designed
starting on the internet.
to kill off the old people so that because we simply don't have the money with Social Security, etc. for that, and China has 1 billion Chinese people, and they can't afford their population.
Interesting. All right, what else you got for me?
So I used to live in North Dakota. All right.
First one that I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I lived in North Dakota, and I didn't know about this until I moved to North Dakota, and I heard about it. But there's this place called the Stanley Mickelson Safeguard Complex, and it's like this massive complex. It's built. It's built like a triangle. I would say pyramid, but it's not elevated, right? So
Okay.
it's flat, kind of like on the dollar bill. You have
Right.
that pyramid, and has these round circles on each face
Okay.
of it. And this was built in the 70s, and it cost $500 million to build.
It's a lot of money in the 70s.
It is a lot. It's like 1.5 billion now.
Yeah.
Right. So they spent all this money and years building this thing.
On a triangle.
Yeah. Well, it's a series of buildings in the shape of the triangle, right? So it opened October 1st, 1975, and closed October 2nd, 1975.
Interesting.
And so the conspiracy theory is that they built this as a complex layer, whatever you want to call it, for the Illuminati.
Gotcha. So
Right.
that's where the Illuminati is storing all their secrets.
Yeah, this is a secret stashing place, a gathering place, whatever it is. And also the other thing is that it's also like in the symbol of the Freemasons.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Freemasons?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, so it's like, is it Illuminati? Is it
Actually,
Freemasons?
a friend of mine that was like a part of it or is a part of it or whatever.
Freemasons are kind of weird.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I never like fully understood it or like what it meant, and I was extremely surprised that it's not about masonry. So, if any of you are wondering out there,
That has nothing
to do with masonry.
It's about being a good citizen.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Or
something.
building $1.5 billion money structures to hide shit. I don't know if I'm on the lines of like Illuminati secret storage.
Yeah, I'm not.
I think maybe storage of something or for someone or whatever, but I don't know how I feel about the whole Illuminati thing in general, let alone the secret storage.
Yeah, so
thing.
where is the Freemasons, the Illuminati, and the New World Order in the hierarchy?
Right.
Right.
And I seem to hear a lot about these storage places. So like, how many do we got?
Oh, a ton.
Yeah.
A ton of them. So the Freemasons, I know a guy that's a Freemason, a black guy. It kind of startled me too. It was like, I didn't realize that you were allowed in. Evidently, a select few are. Like, there evidently is black Freemasons. Maybe they're allowed to start their own club. I'm not sure if there's like biracial or mixed use Freemason clubs, but
Gen Z running lit.
anyway, so I had, besides him, when I was in the Army, I was on funeral detail.
Okay.
Right. And so we'd go out to all these different, I was stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. We'd be sent out to all these different places to bury veterans.
Okay.
All right. And so we went to this one place is like deep in the woods of North Carolina. And the guy we were burying was a Freemason.
Mhm.
And there is me, guy named Melton, a black guy named Melton. We called Spot because he had this one circle of white hair in his head. And another black guy, and the rest were white guys. And we're there, and we're looking around, and all we saw was white people.
Okay.
Right. And during their ceremony, they had a lot of hand gestures and words that I don't think were real parts of the English vocabulary.
Okay.
And we weren't real fond of the way they were looking at us.
Yeah.
And so it was so bizarre that when we finally, dropped the dude in the ground and shoved the flag in the deceased wife's face and got out of there, we're like, oh, thank God.
Thank God we're still alive.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I think of the Freemasons.
Interesting. So what do you think that building's for? Buildings.
In truth?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think it is for, I don't know, is it cooperation or study or research with the U.S. government and alien life forms or alien technology? Like maybe they transported something from Area 51 to North Dakota, that type of thing.
Because no one goes to North Dakota.
Nobody in their right mind lives in North Dakota for more than 2 years.
Right.
Right. I lived there for one
that I heard of.
Right.
And I'm still not sure that's real. So.
And they have nukes out in at the Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota. So it's kind of a barren, forgotten land.
Okay.
And you could drop a nuclear bomb in North Dakota and kill 3 people.
And they were all just standing in the wrong place. They knew about the bomb.
Yeah, they heard it was going to happen. They went to watch.
Yeah, right. All right.
So that's what I think it is. I don't think it has anything to do with the Illuminati, and I don't know that I believe in the existence of an Illuminati.
Yeah,
as it's in mythology.
Yeah, I don't know if I do either. I don't think that I do. All right, so I got one for you.
Got one.
Just one. You heard of the mattress firm conspiracy theory?
Oh, I have heard of the mattress firm. It's a newer one, though.
Yeah, it is a newer one. So in 2018, there was this post that went viral on Reddit of this guy who posted the locations of his local mattress firm in Chicago, Illinois. And on the map, I'll pull up the original map that he posted for you guys and post it up there. And then I'll also pull my map up for you.
So this looks like Texas.
Yeah, that's not Chicago, Illinois. But anyways, so he posted this map, right? And it had all these mattress firms up and down
the lake.
The lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost said the coast. Up and down the lake. And they were all super close together, like some within a few blocks of each other. And so the theory goes is that Mattress Firm, the store in most states, is not a mattress company. They're using that as a front for money laundering, right? That's the conspiracy theory behind this. And I was like, all right, well, that sounds a little weird. Like they're a big store, whatever. They're a really big company. A lot of times big companies, it's kind of difficult to hide finances like that because everybody's got like public quarterly reports and like all these things, right? So I started doing a little bit of digging and I searched for the area that he posted on Google Maps with all these mattress firms, right? When I look at it today, all those mattress firms are not there. There's like 3 or 4 in that area and they're pretty dispersed. I don't know if they caught wind of like the picture and were like, man, but they're not really there. However, I'll post it for you guys. I pulled up my local San Antonio distribution of mattress firms. And I will say, I've been into a mattress firm maybe 3 times in my life, as I suspect everyone else my age or older than me probably has. Mattresses are usually good for 5 to 10 years, especially with the warranties nowadays and all that stuff. And I didn't see anyone in that mattress firm all 3 times that I went there, besides the guy that, me and the guy that was selling me the mattress. And if you look at this picture of San Antonio, that's a lot of mattress firms. That's a lot in one area. Some of them really close to each other.
So do you think the guy that's selling mattresses is the money launderer, or do you think he's a unwitting accomplice?
I think he's he knows, but he's part of the pawn in the rest of the scheme. You know, he's working with the other local mattress firms, and they're all in this money laundering thing together. I think he knows about it. I don't think he, you know, I think that they sell mattresses, right? Just,
Do you think they have like an entry-level salesperson that gets promoted into like manager and training and then becomes the store manager later on?
yeah, gets brought into the scheme, the
They have to like
scheme.
be tested for their, questionable morals before they can
maybe.
get promoted.
I don't know. I don't know if they're actually a money laundering thing, whatever. It would be interesting to come to find out that they are. Usually money laundering happens on a much smaller front and not like a giant, massive industrial scale like this. But it is interesting that they're so close together. I mean, those ones on that map are really close. I know the area pretty well, and they're not far from each other. And I don't know how many people are going into those mattress stores to warrant all that foot traffic for multiple stores like that.
You think there's like code words the customer comes in and say, "Hey, my mattress is awfully lumpy. I'm looking for something with a few less lumps.
Yeah.
If I get a new mattress, can you haul my old mattress out of here?"
Yeah.
Like, yes, we can do that.
Yeah, we can do that for you. Yeah.
We charge a small fee for mattress removal.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe there's code mattress words. Like, I want the purple double extra firm or something like that. I don't know.
So,
yeah.
Does the mattress firm own the real estate or do they rent? Because
I don't know.
Because to me, my experience with mattress firms, their stores are actually kind of small. They're
more like test beds, really. They
Right.
don't have any really stock, it seems like, at least.
So it could be a low overhead,
Right.
right? So you just get some mattresses, throw it down on some bed frames because I don't recall them selling like beds with like canopies and all that kind of stuff. So they're just
they're just mattresses.
and mattresses on a frame.
Yeah, they sell frames, right? They have their own style frame, or they have frames from other manufacturers. And
so they just throw some mattresses and box springs down. You jump on it, lay down, you want it or not, right?
Right.
So it's really not a lot of cost. If you own the property, then you're charging rent. You could just write off your losses. So if you don't make any money, you could write off your losses, and whoever owns it could actually have companies designed just to lose money.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely weird. It's a weird business practice to put that many so close together with so little foot traffic, or at least what I think of as little foot traffic.
Kind of reminds me of like the Waffle House hurricane connection.
That like Waffle Houses only go up where there's hurricanes?
No. So, and believe
The
it,
house controls hurricanes.
the news and meteorologists use this.
Okay.
They'll openly admit it. But they will track which Waffle Houses closes when a hurricane hits to determine the strength of the hurricane.
Oh, because Waffle House will just stay open.
They'll stay open no matter what.
Until it's
There could be a shooting in progress, and they'll just close that side of the
they're
Waffle
part
House.
of the shooting. Right, yeah.
It's like, all right, so Cindy can't work the grill right now. She's part of the shooting, so we're just going to have to close this
Yeah.
side. You guys can eat over there. We're going to try to keep the bullets over to that side.
Yeah, I saw one post that it was like, oh, some guy wrote like, I hop over Waffle House. And another guy posted underneath it, and they were like, I went to a Waffle House drunk off my ass, and the people in there fed me. They gave me the food for free, took away my keys so I wouldn't drive. That's not a Waffle House, it's a Waffle Hole. I mean, Waffle House is just one of those places. Like, you see some crazy shit there.
I went to Waffle House in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just like the all-around place. But yeah, mattress firm thing is interesting to me. There's some other things online where people talk about like they like didn't release some of their finances during that same year because they said they saw financial irregularities in like their finances and like didn't release their reports. I don't know how true that is, but kind of
What do you think?
some fuel to the fire. I don't think they're laundering money, to be honest with you. I think there's some other strategic reason to have that many stores, whether it's property, tax loss, writing things off as a loss, whatever. I don't think they're laundering money.
But the ones in Chicago all closed down except for a couple.
It seems that way. I don't know how real the picture was when it was posted.
Okay.
I didn't do enough research to see like, oh, they were there and now they're not. If they were there and now they don't show up, maybe in Chicago, Illinois, they were money laundering.
Maybe.
But yeah, so that one was an interesting one for me.
Indeed.
You got any more for me?
I got a few. Got something real short, but I just thought it was funny.
Okay.
But we're in election season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're talking about selection of candidate, right? So the NBA draft in 1985, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
The way they do the draft is team names are put in envelopes, right? And a person randomly grabs an envelope, they open an envelope, and whatever team is in there gets that first draft pick.
Okay.
Second. So there's this theory that draft was rigged so that the New York Knicks would get the very first pick. And the theory is that they took the envelope for the New York Knicks and they froze it.
Okay.
And then they stuck it in with all the other envelopes. So when the person went in there, all he had to do is feel for the cold envelope.
Oh, okay. And then be able to pull that one out.
And so the New York Knicks got the first draft pick.
Okay.
That is, to me, believable.
Yeah. I could see it. I mean, it's a very simple like scheme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're just dealing with envelopes, whatever. There's no tech involved for like randomness or anything like that. You just reach in for the envelope and pull out the first one you grab or whatever, or feel around.
And they always like mix it up.
Yeah.
And then when you feel that cold one, you grab it. Here it is.
Yeah.
I think it's genius is what I think it is.
It's a good idea. It's a great way to like get by under the radar. It's not marked or anything like that. It's just colder than the rest of them.
Yeah. And then by the time somebody gets, suspicious, it's already warmed up to room temperature, right?
Yeah. There you go.
But the one I really want to talk about, since you travel a lot, well, there's a couple, but the one I want to talk about at some length is, have you ever been to the Denver International Airport?
Yep. I think I know where you're going with this one.
So there's some weird, well, first of all, for the viewers who don't know and have never been there, the Denver International Airport is twice the size of Manhattan.
Which is big. I'll put a map up of Manhattan on the
video.
Video.
I know at least one viewer here has been to Manhattan.
Yeah, I have.
From New York.
So I'll throw it up there. Maybe I have. I don't know.
Yeah. Twice the size of Manhattan for an airport.
Yeah, that's a big airport. If you've ever been to the Denver airport, by the way, it is nowhere near Denver.
No, it's out in the sticks.
Yeah, it's almost an hour away from central Denver.
Yeah, you don't Uber.
Yeah. And if you do, I have a couple of times coming back from work, it's like $140.
Yeah, it's money.
Yeah.
You might as well just rent the car.
Yeah.
So
it'd be cheaper.
But so the Denver airport has like this statue of like the horse.
Yeah, it's like demon horse.
Yeah, the demon horse.
Right.
And the Denver's football team is the Broncos, right? So it's demon horse that actually fell and killed the sculptor.
Yep.
All right. It has these weird murals, including like Nazis wearing gas masks, and was $2 billion with a B Bravo over budget.
Yeah. When was the Denver airport built? I mean, it's not new.
No, it's not new.
Yeah.
So
over budget. $2 billion.
I'll have to take a look. I didn't look to see when it was.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, what that is in today's money. Like, that's a lot over budget. That's not just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
would you mess up so bad that's $2 billion over budget?
Think about it this way. SoFi Stadium, where the LA Rams play, that was built in 2020, or I think that's when it opened, was $1 billion.
Yeah.
That whole freaking
stadium,
top of the line, technology driven stadium was $1 billion.
Yeah. and you misspent $2 billion.
And
on
you
an
misspelled.
airport.
You went $2 billion over your original budget.
Yeah. Whatever that was at the time.
So people believe again that it's a building for the Illuminati.
Mhm.
You know, it's an underground structure for the Illuminati to, I don't know what, store their freaking card catalog of books or something.
Yeah, I think the Illuminati is a conspiracy theory in of itself to get people to reference to the Illuminati instead of something else. Because we talk about the Illuminati in general in conspiracy theories a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's a distraction. I think the Illuminati is created to distract you from all the legitimate
from all of the
conspiracies.
other ones. Yeah.
So
what do you think it is then? What do you think they misspent $2 billion on?
well, the airport was funded by the New World Airport Commission.
Sounds familiar.
All right. So let me see. New World Airport Commission. New World Order. All right. So I think the New World Order might have something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the New World Order is. I kind of feel that New World Order is very World Economic Forum type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of feel that for $2 billion, it's like they built an underground area for designated people to go to in the event of a nuclear war.
So like a fallout kind of thing.
Yeah, a massive fallout shelter where enough people can be subsurface so that when radiation clears up and that kind of thing, you can repopulate the surface.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting concept, even if it's not as far as like the ultra wealthy or like high pick people, right? But even if like, okay, we don't want everyone to know about it because we want to hide it because, we don't want storms of people just showing up, right? Because we need enough space for enough people. But even if we're just like, as a city of Denver, let's just say they're thinking about themselves only. We want to be able to store our population of people or some piece of it. And, Denver will be the ones that rise up in this new world or whatever after the nuclear fallout. Yeah, I mean, it would be an interesting place to put it. They got plenty of wind and solar on the way out there too, like when you're going to Denver and all, or going to the airport and all that stuff. Plenty of land around, things like that. Just
so they're continuing to enhance it.
Yeah, interesting.
I imagine that they would like have people earmarked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the people don't even know that they're selected, but they're thinking, well, we're going to need to have engineers, we're going to need to have doctors, we're going to need to have the laborers,
right?
Plumbers, electricians, pipe fitters, that type of stuff,
right?
So we need to make sure we get at least
a mix,
this mix of people into this place.
And where else to find a mix of people in a major populous area, like Denver,
that is union friendly.
Yep.
Sorry, we're not going to rebuild your country unless we get these wages. Bro, there's no such thing as money right now.
We don't have any money. You kind of spent it all on this airport.
So, yeah, I kind of, I don't know, it's weird, and that's, I think, worth more information on.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. $2 billion is a lot of money. It's a lot of money to overspend. But, then again, some people say other people overspent 40 or 20 times that on a social media company. So, billions kind of a number we just throw out nowadays.
Yep.
Well, I do have one more from my side.
Okay.
And it's a conspiracy theory that like kind of makes its way up and down now and again. And I don't know how often it's talked about, but it definitely like comes up in conversation. There's a lot of diseases, including, and one of the main one is cancer, that health companies already have the cure for, but they don't release it because of the amount of money that they make from cancer, from people, from having to go and get treated for it, the research behind it, all of that stuff. That one's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
We already have these cures for a lot of these diseases, but the health, the pharmaceutical
Big
industry,
pharma.
big pharma, right, doesn't release it because it saves us a lot of, or we make a lot of money from it, right? So that's a pretty big one. What are your thoughts?
That's a tough one. I can definitely see big pharma kind of wanting to squelch that, but it would only be the cancer curing portion of it. I think that there's enough doctors and children who are dying of cancer that, people are trying to save, that outside of the cancer pharma companies, these other doctors would have leaked it.
Yeah. Here's my other take on it too. From my perspective, there's a lot of very rich people or popular people that still die from cancer.
Right.
And in my take, at least in my big pharma conspiracy opinion or anything along that matter, those people are involved, right? They own the stocks, they make money, whatever, but they still die from cancer.
Yeah.
If they have the cure or, whatever. And I have a hard time with that one. Like, there's got to be somebody rich enough.
Right. So, hey, Brandon, you've made a lot of money off of our stocks.
Right.
And
you've made us a lot of money.
You made us a lot of money. We made you a lot of money. Yes, we know that there's a cure, but we're not going to give it to you because we can't just have miraculous cure for cancers and create this conspiracy theory. So you're going to have to take one for the team and just die.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's going to be a slow and painful death.
Yeah. Oh, and don't leak it, by the way.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know. Yeah. That's where I'm at on that one.
Do I think that there's maybe some cheaper alternatives for treating cancer?
I think there's cheaper alternatives for treating quite a few things.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because you can get those cheaper alternatives pretty much anywhere except for here. So there are some things that's like, well, I can see that one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if full cures for these.
Yeah. For the whole
diseases.
world to collaborate. And maybe that goes back to the World Economic Forum where these 9 people get together and say, no,
we're not.
Screw everybody.
That's a 2030 release. We're not there yet.
So,
wait a minute. You mixed up COVID and cancer cure? Hang on. I said release the cure for cancer.
So let's do something a little bit more fun.
Okay.
Loch Ness Monster.
I'm in.
You're
in on the Loch Ness.
You're in for Nessie?
I'm in for Nessie. I got Nessie tattooed on me right here. I'm in for Nessie.
Why are you in for Nessie?
I'm in for Nessie because, and I don't know how mathematically this statistic is true, but I get the point they're trying to make. There's a saying out there, statistic or whatever, that we've seen or explored more of space than we have of our oceans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of darkness down there, a lot of things we haven't seen. Every time we try to pilot a sub, billionaires die. I feel like there's a lot that we haven't seen in our ocean to discount. I don't know about Nessie, if I'm just being honest, but big undiscoverable things that we haven't seen yet, or non-discovered things that we haven't seen yet. I'm a proponent of there's probably things that people have seen, only a few people saw, but not everybody saw. It's easier for me to believe in something like that than a Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because on from a standing around perspective in the US, whatever, almost everybody's got their phone. You may not always have immediate access to let me flip out my phone when you're on the ocean, in the military, in a sub where you don't have windows, whatever, right? To just flip out your phone and record. All the recordings of Bigfoot are shoddy at best.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we've cut down a lot of trees. I don't know. I don't know. We've explored a lot of the land part.
Right. And
So,
most of the Bigfoot sightings have been in Washington State.
yeah, they're very concentrated.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I struggle with the Bigfoot one. I don't know if I'm on board with that one, but Loch Ness or something really big, undiscoverable.
Yeah,
Secret megalodon swimming around in there. I don't know.
I believe, like, I mean, if you think about a sturgeon, the fish, it's a prehistoric creature, right? And they get big, 2,000 pounds, right? And they live in cold water and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And so I think about like that and how little we've researched our waters,
Right.
lakes and oceans.
Yeah.
Right. Do I believe there could be something that's rare or uncommon that lives in the deep? Maybe they're nocturnal.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, they're even vegetarian, or maybe they're omnivores.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people like call them, the doomsday fish, right? The horror fish. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'll put a picture of them. Those things are creepy looking, and they're long as hell. They're huge, and they look like things that shouldn't exist in our ocean.
Yeah.
Right? They look like they're fake. And so, like, things like that just almost always live super deep where no one goes. It's hard for me to believe that there's not a lot of things down there that we haven't seen.
Right. And then I'm with you. I don't believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I know not too long ago, by not too long ago, it might be like in the last 20 years. The children of the guy who made either the first Bigfoot sighting or made the first Bigfoot sighting notorious.
Yeah, or famous.
Admitted that their father was just messing around. Yeah, it's bullshitting.
Yeah.
And they
He was Bigfoot.
Maybe he was Bigfoot. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. It's like things that live on the surface tend to live shorter lives than things in the water.
Yeah. And things that are big. Like we've talked about this before. We talked about this when we were talking about like the ghosts and all of that stuff, right? I mean, like things that are big typically have shorter lives. I don't know. I mean, turtles transcend multiple generations of us.
Yes.
I have a hard time that like Bigfoot is just transcending multiple generations and just running around out there.
Yeah,
multi-Bigfoots.
Because Bigfoot would be, by description, more mammalian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Human, monkey, something along those
lines. Some hybrid.
Yeah. So you expect the same type of life expectancy.
Yeah.
So we've been seeing Bigfoot for 100 years.
Yeah. And it's the same one. There's a bunch of them. And if there's a bunch of them, they're hiding really well.
Yeah.
Or we've never really discovered cameras at the time that we're reporting.
We've never discovered remnants of a Bigfoot family.
Yeah. Yeah. We've discovered very small to very big dinosaur bones, but no Bigfoot bones.
Yeah, no Bigfoot bones.
Yep. Just their feet prints.
So Bigfoot debunked.
Yeah, I don't believe in no Bigfoot. I believe in the mattress firm conspiracy theory over my Bigfoot story.
I believe in Jimmy Hoffa.
Jimmy Hoffa.
He died. He was murdered. I think
that's good.
I think
that.
Well, he disappeared,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote, right? And then they had to wait the obligatory 7 years to declare him dead. So maybe he's hanging out with Elvis and Bruce Lee,
Hitler, Michael Jackson,
but
chilling.
I think he's safely inside the concretes of Hoover Dam.
Okay. Well, I don't think he's in the whatever football stadium it is.
Giant stadium. They say that he's buried underneath it.
Yeah. I don't think he's there. And the only reason why I don't think he's there is because I fully trust the Mythbusters. I think they did a great job on the episode, and they didn't find him. So,
and also the Giants got a new stadium.
Okay.
All right. So you think if they're going to build a new stadium,
and I dig up the old one,
and Hollywood exists,
right?
Buried underneath the stadium, you just like, hey, let's spend the money and
start digging,
dig up the stadium, see if we can find anything.
Yeah.
But I think he's in Hoover Dam. I think he was murdered.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably the right treatment for him.
Yeah, I heard he wasn't a nice guy.
No, not the kindest man in the world.
Yeah. Frankly, I don't know if I really care.
Nope, I don't. There was so I would say in the 80s, there was this big TV show, right? A special, like 2020 type of thing. I don't even know what 2020 is. Think of like the national nightly news type of thing, right?
Okay.
But they're advertising. They found a vault. I think it was Jimmy Hoffa's vault, and they're like advertising. Yeah, this vault. We're going to open up this vault and see what's in it. So that for a week they were like blasting this on the TVs to get all of America watching this one channel at this one time.
Okay.
To open up the vault to see what's in that vault, and they finally opened it up and shone a light in it, and it was empty. It was dust.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Everybody's like, "That's it."
Oh man,
I rushed home from work for this.
Oh, just like how you guys are feeling about this podcast.
That's it. I spent my 4 hours watching this.
All for a Jimmy Hoffa vault. I watched the end of this. Alrighty, guys. Well, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things.
Yep. And remember, the moon landing was real.
The moon landing was real. Everything that you saw at the beginning, not true. The moon landing was real.
Peace be the journey.
Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.